Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Brad Davidson Show. In today's episode, I'm going to jump into a full episode on training for fat loss, specifically middle-aged fat loss. This is going to be some of the toughest realms of time to help someone actually get rid of body fat. We've done a lot of conversations around nutrition, the metabolic reset, sleep, all the lifestyle factors that can help with fat loss. And today I want to really jump in on how I believe we should be training optimally to lose body fat. There's a couple really important things I think that need to be known. Number one, weight training is critical for health, for optimization, for looking great. But I get it, it's scary. Harvard did a study, they found it leads to a 9 to 22% lower risk of early death. That's a pretty big return. So I think weightlifting should be a core facet of everyone's training. Now there's a lot of misperceptions or misconceptions around this whole idea of working out. I know ladies oftentimes are very afraid of lifting weights because they're worried they're going to get big and bulky. The system I'm going to show you today will make sure that's not possible. I'm going to show you how to lift weights in a way that drives fat loss without making you big and bulky. And guys, I'm sorry, like this style of system I'm going to share with you, if your goal is to get big and bulky, it's not going to work great for you, okay? This system is to help you drop body fat, maintain lean muscle mass, and to feel great and perform great in life without wiping you out. This is to create the look that you want. Everyone thinks it's just all about effort. Just go work out really hard, right? Effort matters most. The big one is HIIT training, and you keep hearing me say, I don't like it. And I'm gonna give you a lot of reasons why I don't like it today. I don't believe it's the best way to look great. Can it help you lose some weight? Yes, if you do it properly. Can it completely backfire on you? Yes, I'm gonna share with you a study here in a few minutes that shows you excessive HIIT training can cause a lot of things to go wrong and actually cause your metabolism to go backwards versus getting better. Now, I've seen this happen throughout my years. So in the world I work in, for the longest time in the private sector, when I was training individual clients, a lot of my clients would come in and it would be a contract scenario. They would be forced to cause a shift in their weight. And a lot of these men and women were athletes, and they had hit a certain weight from a contract standpoint. And so we had to shift their body composition very quickly without losing muscle mass, strength, speed, power, those things that would help them be a better athlete. And the system I'm going to share with you today is a system I learned back in the early 90s that I believe more in now today than I did back then because I've used it so much successfully. It will help them drop the body fat they're looking for, will keep the muscle mass on, their body fat down, and their performance elevated. So to me, this is super critical because what I see so many people doing is they're using HIIT training excessively and it's wiping them out. And I'm just tired of allowing that to be out there. So let's look at this. Okay, first off, exercise structure matters. Workout structure matters. A couple of things I see that are problematic is one, people are either making one of two mistakes. They're doing the same workouts for far too long. Or the flip side, they're doing a different workout every single day. You've heard it called muscle confusion. You just walk in the gym, you have no idea what's coming, and you just get blasted with a workout, and every day is something different. Both of those spectrums lead you nowhere quickly. What I've seen over the years tends to be the best is 3 to 4 week training cycles, doing the same workouts for 3 to 4 weeks and progressing through them. A lot of top strength coaches I know that I've worked with over the decades, that I've learned from, that I've connected with, colleagues of mine that I highly trust, all believe that same thing. There needs to be some type of progression involved. What happens is the body experiences a new stimulus. It's a stressor. It kind of shocks the system, okay? And then the body has to adapt to that system. And then if you don't change the system, you stand it too long, you'll go into a stagnation phase and start going backwards. So you need to apply a stressor, adapt to the stressor, and then change it. And what I've seen is 3 to 4 weeks tends to work the best at that. You need to understand variables matter. For example, sets, reps, tempo of the movement, how fast are you moving, rest periods, all these variables matter. And I'm going to give you an example at the end of this on what a workout would look like with all the variables involved and why they're important. Now, I'm going to start off with HIIT training because this one bothers me the most. I posted a video a few weeks back on menopausal women, how I think HIIT training really backfires on them. I got a lot of backlash for it. I got a lot of very negative comments talking about that. But if you have any experience working with women in menopause and post-menopause, you know the frustration I'm talking about. They are busting their butts doing HIIT training constantly and getting nowhere fast. A lot of times what I would see is they were getting worse. So to me, I don't see HIIT training as an answer. I see HIIT training as a hindrance. And here's why. I'm not saying HIIT training is bad, okay? Once or twice a week, it will work and it's beneficial. But you start increasing the amount of volume you're doing HIIT training, and there was a study done, I'm gonna read it to you right here, in 2021. Excessive exercise training causes mitochondrial functional impairment and decreases glucose tolerance in healthy volunteers. They took a group of men and women and put them through 4 weeks of HIIT training. And each week they increased the volume of HIIT training. By week 3, these men and women are doing 152 minutes of HIIT training. So do the math. If you do a 60-minute HIIT class, that's only 3. That's not even 3. 3 of them will be 180 minutes, right? So at 150 minutes. So let's say you're doing 3 classes a week. It's about 50 minutes of work. That's going to be right about the 150-minute mark. What they found in those individuals is the whole metabolism began to crash. They became intolerant to glucose, meaning that they couldn't handle insulin sensitivity very well. Mitochondrial function dropped. And the metabolism began to slow, actually began to go backwards, and performance completely tanked. So many people I know that I meet, that I talk with, are doing HIIT training 5, 6, 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day. It's way more volume than the 152-minute mark. And that volume can be so hindrant, create such a hindrance to your result. So often, it's why you don't feel good, it's why you don't look good, and it's why you're not getting the results you think you deserve from the effort you're putting out. That's why I keep saying, it's not about effort, it's about strategy, a little bit of effort, and good recovery. I also found in 2015 a study comparing 2 different types of training. One was called peripheral heart action, and one was HIIT training. They wanted to see which one was more dominant. So the typical HIIT training is you do a weightlifting exercise to a cardio exercise. And you go back and forth in a circuit fashion that way. Peripheral heart action is where you will do like 4 different exercises, for example. In this study, it was 4 different exercises. You do a lower body exercise, weightlifted, upper body weightlifted exercise, a lower body weightlifted exercise, and an upper body weightlifted exercise. It was pushing the blood flow back and forth. And it watched over 12 weeks who got the better results. They both got results in different scenarios. But the peripheral heart action training dominated in the world of fat loss, strength in the lower body and upper body, and it also got better results in reducing blood pressure. So training this way of peripheral heart action is also good for the heart. Now, the HIIT training, it did improve VO2 max more than the peripheral heart action did. So I'm not saying there's not benefit to HIIT training. I'm just saying when you look at the overall results of how these things work, peripheral heart action got better results than HIIT training. So there's a better way to go about this. And there's the other interesting thing. Metabolically, the people who did the peripheral heart action had an increased metabolic rate compared to the people who did the HIIT training. Everyone's doing HIIT training because they think of EPOC, exercise post-oxygen consumption, meaning you burn more calories after those workouts. But the people who did the peripheral heart action workouts had much better post-metabolic burn after the 12 weeks than the people who did the HIIT training. So there's a better way to go about this. Now, I learned from a gentleman named Charles Poliquin. This is who I first learned about this style of training in the 90s. And I've been using it ever since then. And I use it with all my athletes over the years who needed to get a big response and body composition change, meaning I had to get their body fat down, I had to get their weight down, but I couldn't risk losing strength, power, and speed. Muscle mass is critical. Remember, lifting weights, having muscle mass, I believe is the fountain of youth. And more research is coming out showing we need to lift weights. Resisted trained muscle is the most metabolically active muscle. Also, Tufts University shows us the number 1 predictor of longevity is muscle mass. We don't want to risk stripping that off. HIIT training has also been shown to do excessive damage. It causes hormonal disruptions. It elevates cortisol hormone. It's been shown you do too much of it, you disrupt your sleep. You have more anxiety. There's all kinds of issues that come with too much HIIT training. But no one wants to listen to this. They just want to go work their tails off. And a lot of people in the fitness industry are supporting it. Because here's the thing, it's not hard to coach people running on a treadmill or doing the rower. It's really hard to coach somebody doing a squat correctly or a deadlift correctly or a pull-up correctly. It takes more focus and energy to coach those, so I get it. Just running around on a treadmill and doing battle ropes and things like that, you don't have to focus on technique, it's just go really hard. So what I learned is a system called the German body comp system. Again, Charles Poliquin is the one who's made this famous. I've worked with a number of mentors who have taught me different variations of styles of German body comp training. But why I like German body comp training is it's using big compound movements, controlling all the variables. So you're increasing strength, you're increasing or maintaining muscle mass. And what's happening is when you do this style of training, you're increasing lactate production in the body. And again, you're gonna go from an upper body to a lower body exercise, generating this lactate in the body, and the heart is being forced to shunt from the lower body to the upper body, so your blood's pushing it all over your body. And by having that increased lactate response, you will generate more growth hormone after the workout. And that is what leads to faster fat burn and more effective fat burning. This first showed up around the Cold War in the 80s. The Americans studied it, validated, yes, lactate is a great tool to increase growth hormone to drop body fat. Growth hormone is also the fountain of youth. So as we get into middle age, we want all these things on our side. We want to maintain our muscle mass for longevity. We want to increase lactate and increase growth hormone for the youthfulness of it. But we also don't want to overdo this, okay? When you're just running around on a treadmill, battle ropes, things like that, you're not focused on the muscle mass. You're focusing on caloric burn. And what's great with this is studies are showing when you use weightlifting to create this peripheral heart action, you have a higher metabolic rate compared to just running around on the treadmill doing the HIIT training stuff. So German body comp, it's basically what it is. You're gonna go a lower body exercise, short rest, anywhere from 10 seconds to 60 seconds, right to an upper body exercise. Short rest, back to that lower body exercise. You can do a few sets of that, and you can go to a second grouping. A different lower body exercise, a different upper body exercise. You go back and forth on that. Again, forcing the heart to push the blood around. We're using the weightlifting to generate lactate scenarios, lactic acid production. And we're using big compound movements to train strength. And big compound movements are good tools to use to maintain muscle mass and maintain strength. So we just built that out for about 45 minutes. An Eastern Bloc country showed that about 42 minutes of hard training, testosterone and anabolic hormones begin to drop and your stress hormones begin to take off. So we want right around that 45 minutes of hard work. And then we want to focus on recovery. I love to use a lot of walking in between high intensity workouts. So I recommend we do these type of workouts 3 times a week and then walk and do recovery work in between them. Walking is another great tool. Low level aerobic activity or walking is a really nice tool to reduce your risk of early death as well. 150 minutes of that per week reduces your risk of early death by like 42% or something like that. It's staggering. So lifting weights reduces your risk of early death. Walking reduces your risk of early death. We're managing and maintaining your body and using hormones on your side to create a better looking you. You do not have to live in the gym. You do not have to crush yourself day in and day out, 1 or 2 workouts a week. You just don't have to. I shared the story on the last podcast of the young lady that I was working with that was working out literally 3 times a day, up to 7 days a week, just cranking on herself. And her body totally backfired. She put weight on. That 2021 study I just shared with you out of the Journal of Cell Metabolism, I think it was, shows that it will begin to backfire on you using too much HIIT training. Your metabolism will go sideways on you. So let's look at an example of what a German body comp workout could look like. So we're gonna start with your first 2 exercises. Now, I'm just sharing you to do one simple template. I've learned from one of my mentors, Stefan Kazult, there's a million ways to create this German body comp scenario, and we're changing the variables constantly to create continuous progression over time. And we don't do this consistently all the time. We do a 3-week block of it, and then we get away from it for a little while, for 3 weeks, and then a 3-week block of it, and then we get away from it for 3 weeks. But a typical German body comp workout, phase 1 body comp workout with someone that we would work with would look like this. You would do a squat. It could be a back squat. If you're not controlling the back squat, it could be a dumbbell goblet squat. You're gonna control it down. You're gonna go 4 seconds down, fast up for 10 to 12 reps. Then you're gonna rest 30 to 60 seconds. You're gonna go to a pull up or a pull down. So if you're doing the pull down, it would be fast down, 4 seconds up, 10 to 12 reps. Rest 30 to 60 seconds. And then you go back to the squat. You're gonna do 3 sets of that. Once you've completed those 3 sets of those 2 exercises, take a 1 to 2 minute rest, let yourself recover a little bit, and you're gonna move to 2 new exercises. Now you go to a hamstring curl. Fast up, 4 seconds down. Now I think a question probably coming into your mind right now is, what's the whole deal with the 4 seconds down? When you are lengthening the muscle, you wanna move it slowly for a couple reasons. 1, it will produce more of a lactate response. 2, it's safer on your joints. Remember that lactate response leads to more growth hormone production when you're done. So we're gonna get better results that way, and it's safer. But then you always wanna shorten the muscle quickly, because when you're out in life moving around, we wanna make sure we concentrically can move quickly, because that's life. So control it as you lengthen it, quick as you shorten it, so it's safe and effective in life. So we go the hamstring curl, fast up, 4 seconds down, 10 to 12 reps, rest 30 to 60 seconds, then go to a dumbbell chest press. Fast up, 4 seconds down, 10 to 12 reps, rest 30 to 60 seconds, back to the hamstring curl. You go back and forth on those for your 3 sets, then take a minute or 2 rest. And we're gonna go into a C1, C2 movement. Now, the first 2 groupings are gonna be more the big compound movements. We also wanna incorporate in what are called structural balance exercises. The areas of the body that are at the greatest risk of injury, things that will protect your low back, your shoulder, your elbow, your knee, your ankle. So some examples here. We could go a step up and do 10 to 12 reps each leg. Now a step up, you're gonna go 1 up, 2 down. You're not gonna go, you can't really control a step up on the way down. So you step up, you go 1 second up, 2 seconds down, 10 to 12 reps each leg, rest 30 to 60 seconds, and then go to an exercise called, example, a face pull to train the backside shoulders. You would put a rope on a cable, pull it to you. On these ones, I like to pull fast, pause, 3 seconds back. 10 to 12 of those. Rest 30 to 60 seconds, back to the step up. And then we get to the D series. Now you can do, example, a calf raise, an exercise that'll protect your ankle and help with your knee. So you go fast up, 2 to 3 seconds down on the calf raise, 12 to 15 reps on this. It's a smaller muscle group. Rest 30 to 60 seconds. You can go into a low ab raise, an exercise for your stomach. Do 12 to 15 of those, fast up, 3 down, 30 to 60 seconds rest, back and forth, 3 sets of that, and boom, you're done. That would be an example of a German body comp workout. We're getting advantage of increasing your strength, focusing on your muscle mass, right? Generating that lactate, which will create a growth hormone response. You're gonna get more of a metabolic burn from this. Remember, muscle that is trained with resistance is more metabolically active than muscle that is not. And it's way more metabolically active than body fat. So we're getting a bigger metabolic burn, so you're burning more calories. You're getting all the benefits of this that we're looking for. You're gonna look good, you're gonna feel good, you're gonna move well in life, your body fat's coming down, and you're doing all the right things to help improve the likelihood of living a long, healthy life. And I wanna share with you a story that just happened to me the other day. It was phenomenal. I saw the benefits of what it looks like when you're older and you can move well. I was at this restaurant with my children, and there happened to be this old kind of mechanical bucking bronco. My son's 9, he jumps up on there, we turn it on, he's riding it, having a great old time. This older gentleman sitting a couple tables away with his wife, cowboy hat on, he's just having a good time, he's talking to my son, and my son says, hey, it works, you can jump up on it. He's like, oh, I don't know. He says, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And he gets up, and this 80-year-old man climbs up on this bucking bronco, flips his leg over, gets up, takes his hat off, he's waving it around, he's having a great time. His wife's like, oh, you're so crazy, taking pictures of him. And he hops off that sucker. And then he tells me, yeah, not bad for an 80-year-old, huh? I was like, what? You're 80 years old. You're moving around better than most men I've seen in their 50s. He's like, yeah, well, it helps take care of yourself, and walked away. I was like, man, the life that gentleman is living at 80 years old is so much more fulfilling than what most people at 80 are living. And it's because he takes care of himself. So we want to maintain activity. I don't want people to continue to wipe themselves out, beat themselves silly, trying to force weight off their bodies, using it almost as like a punishment to themselves, versus using this gift of fitness and exercise as a way we can better ourselves. If you are middle-aged, I mean, I've seen it as early 35 and over, middle-aged to older. You don't have the same hormonal reserves you had in your 20s. I remember being in our 20s, you go out, party all night, sleep for 3 hours, come to the gym, and you're good. We don't have that availability anymore. We're under way more stress than we used to be when we were younger. Remember, stress impacts your hormones. We don't sleep as well. We have way more responsibility. Just life in general is way more stressful at this point in life than it was in our 20s. We cannot handle the same volume of exercise we could in our 20s. You have to look at the full aspect of life. What I hear all the time is like, well, I recover, I do my Normatec boots, Or I do a cold plunge, I recover. No, it takes a hell of a lot more than that, especially middle-aged and older. You have to purposely take days to drive recovery. I don't know a single great strength coach that pushes people to train hard every single day. You can't do it and be successful. You have to integrate hard days with light days, recovery days, moderate days. What I found, 3 days a week of training like this with really good low activity recovery days in between them and a couple on the weekend dramatically improves your ability to handle these workouts, recover from these workouts, and excel from these workouts. So I beg of you, start training smarter. Use the weightlifting, use this idea of peripheral heart action, right? Protect your hormones and get the results you're looking for. Now, ladies, I know the idea of going into a weight room and lifting weights is scary as hell. It's not fun. I won't lie to you, I don't even like going to like a 24-hour fitness and going into the weight room. For some reason, the weight room attracts a certain type of person. And the more muscle this person has, the more successful this person has been in the gym, the better they look, the bigger the ego, the more they want to disrupt everyone around them and make them feel uncomfortable. And so I get it. It's not fun. And guys, I beg of you, if you are in the weight room, women don't want you hitting on them, right? Women don't want you correcting them. They want you just to leave them alone and let them take care of themselves. It's amazing to me how disruptive men can be towards women in the weight room. And I even see this now. A couple weeks ago, I posted a podcast on menopausal women. And I made a few comments in there on what I think menopausal women need. We made some clips off that. And man, I got berated. You're an effing idiot. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. What are your sources? And I'm looking at who's giving me these comments back, and they're all young men. I'm like, dude, that video was not for a 25-year-old CrossFitter. That video was for a menopausal woman that's looking for answers. Like, just stop the madness. Like, why do you have to make it uncomfortable even here on this platform for these poor women that are looking for answers? Like, let them be. If you haven't worked with middle-aged women, you don't understand what they're going through. You don't understand. If you're a man, you don't understand what a woman goes through physiologically with her metabolism in her body. Okay? I've had the opportunity to work with thousands of them over the last 20 years. They're all my speaking, my consulting, my training. They need something different. And a lot of guys my age, middle age, I'm 48. We don't care about being big and jacked. We care about being able to move really well, keeping our body fat down, and making sure I can live a long life and survive all the stress I'm under so I can show up for the people that are important to me. My kids, they don't care what my abs look like. They don't care how jacked I am. They care about how much energy I had to play with them. So if you're looking for something different, this is a great solution. Now, ladies, if you're looking for an answer, here's a couple things you can do to kind of help. One option is you can find a trainer, and I know that can be very uncomfortable. So I'm going to give you some ideas on ways to know you're dealing with a good trainer or not, because I see a lot of trainers this day and age show up to the gym. They have no plan of action. It's like, what do you want to do? They're sitting around. They're on their phones. They're not paying attention. A lot of them, they're more focused on how they look on the internet, not how great is the gift they're giving to the client they're dealing with. So to know you have a great trainer, what I think is important, what I've seen the most successful people do is, one, they always have a plan. They always have a plan. And there's typically progression involved in the plan. So ask the trainer, okay, here's what I want, here's my goals. They should do some type of assessment on you to get an idea of where you're at, what your injuries are. And then they should be able to show you, okay, here's the plan for the next 3 weeks or the next 4 weeks. There should be a plan. And every workout, they should be documenting what you're doing, every set, every rep. Because there's another thing that's very important. Progression matters in this realm. So whatever you do today, today's Friday, I'm recording this on a Friday. I worked out this morning. I documented everything I did this morning. When next Friday comes around and I go back to do that same workout, I need to be able to reflect on what did I do last week so I can do a little more this week to progress. So they should have a plan and they should document everything. Those are probably the two most important things. If you find a trainer that does those two things, I'm going to tell you right now, they're probably pretty dang good. And they will make it comfortable for you versus making it uncomfortable for you. The thing you can do is you can find some classes. This is actually something that I've teamed up with a few great individuals because we've all seen this scenario. Is we see people, they love the class environment, it's comfortable, it's safe. But they've seen the damage being done by all the volume of HIIT training. It's all HIIT training based for the most part. So we've recently launched some new classes that are focused on this style of training. And unfortunately, not allowing people to do 2-a-day workouts, like controlling the amount of volume they're doing. So we just opened up the weight room in Newport Beach, offering these types of classes. There are now other gyms I know of, I've seen periodically, that are doing the same type of thing. It's more weightlifting focused. So dive in and start doing your research. I just am in the middle of helping to open up a gym at a resort in Marietta, Temecula area. Their gym out there is going to offer these types of classes, giving people what they need, giving people the strategy they need to get the results they're looking for without wiping them out. The one out in Marietta, Temecula is called Dynamis Fitness. They are two great systems built on this idea of peripheral hard action, a German body comp system, using weightlifting as the base. Because I'm going to tell you, you start using weightlifting as the base of your fitness, it's going to change your life very, very quickly.